So speaking of beating up your body and doing crazy things, you did 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days. Really quickly, why did you do it, and what did that schedule look like?
Oh man, yeah, that was probably it's probably one of the most fun things I've ever done, and also one of the most challenging. I actually first wanted to do this event a handful of years back. A buddy of mine, Mike Wardian, who's a super decorated ultra athlete, went and did it, and I was just enthralled by the event. And I was like, wow, this is like absolutely insane. I gotta do this one day. And so I feel like again, like it's been ever evolving for me with the challenges that I'm doing, and I feel like that was kind of like the next thing on deck that I had my eyes on. And so when I first got there, you fly into South Africa in Cape Town. You stay there for a few days because you do like some race briefings and everything like that. And you're also that's where you fly out of to go to Antarctica. It's like a straight shot. It's like 5.5 hours, and you start there first because the weather is so volatile and in Antarctica that yeah, so that's the first stage. So we fly out there, and also like the weather was supposed to be sort of nice, or at least that's what the race directors were telling us. uh, and so they're like, oh, it might be one of the best years ever. You might be able to like run in like shorts and a t-shirt. And we get out there, man, and it is like it's crazy. I think it was like 40 or 50 mile an hour wind in like negative like 32. It's so brutal. But we get out there, and so the weather's getting pretty bad. So the original course was supposed to be around an airfield out at the Novo base in Antarctica. We go into these portables to kind of warm up, get changed, throw on extra clothes if we needed. So like a half an hour later, the race directors come in, and or the race organization, and they're like, hey, we're actually going to wait like half an hour. And basically this goes on for, because of the weather, this basically goes on for about 2 hours. And then they come in, and I feel like almost like out of a movie. They look like frozen to the bones. And they're like, the weather's getting so bad out there. They're like, if we don't get out there now and get this like 8 hour window, they're like, we're going to be stuck here for like 2 days. So we go and run in this like crazy weather, man. Just like blistering wind. But honestly, it was, man, it was still just, I don't know, such an incredible experience. I mean, I honestly hate the cold. I mean, Florida boy, true and true. Uh, but I was like, every now and then, I was like looking around at just completely untouched place. We were running out and backs because the visibility got so low. So we did about 13 out and backs. And as we ran along, the wind was so high that the snow drifts were pushing over, and it just like exposed this blue like glacier ice that was just like out of this world. It was so cool. Um, and then from there we jumped back into the plane, went over to South Africa, back to Cape Town, did the second marathon there, then off to Perth in Australia, then to Dubai for Asia, and then we went over to Madrid in Spain for Europe, then Fortaleza in northern Brazil, and then it ended in Miami, which was honestly super iconic as well, really fun, and so many people's friends, family, loved ones like showed up there, and it was so sick, man. I mean, like a proper crowd, like showing up at like midnight at this like just on South Beach, and there's like a crowd of people waiting to watch us go off and run a marathon. It was a really cool experience.
I think I read online that the only time that you had to rest and recover were the 68 hours that you spent flying in between destinations. Is that true?
Man, spot on. Basically, yeah, you because we had to go through like customs, get bag checks, like all the above for the whole process. So yeah, it was basically, and luckily there's usually about an 8 hour window, and I think I averaged for the entirety of the trip about 250 per marathon. So I definitely had a little bit of a leeway. So I had a handful of hours in each place to kind of like have a little bit of downtime. The only place that I really just like went straight back inside was Antarctica. I was like, I'm out. I was like, I spent my time out here. I'm getting out of here.
So then I have to ask you, because it's pretty remarkable. you got better with each race. I mean, to say you got faster, so you improved your time each and every race, but yet seemingly your recovery and rest was not optimal. So how did you manage that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of I feel like that's my bread and butter for the things that I do. I love the multi-stage races, and I feel like I just get more. I don't know. I feel like I get more excited when I run, but also I my body recovers quite quickly. And also again, we were able to sleep on the planes. We were alternating between like business class and like economy. But no matter what, you could like lay down, and if I can go horizontal, man, I was like, count me in. Just like sleeping in a bed. So I was able to actually recover quite well, and I was actually just talking to one of my friends. Name's Bex. She's actually doing the event this year, and I'm actually going back and doing it in November, the World Marathon Challenge, and uh and that's what I was like, honestly, I feel like your body kind of adapts to it as well. I mean, definitely like the fourth day in or so, I feel like you're just kind of like sitting into it. And your body's like, oh, like this is what I do now, I guess. I wake up, I run a marathon, I get back on this plane and fall asleep, and then I wake up in some new environment and do the same thing. So I feel like it's just I don't know, it's kind of like a crazy thing to think about too, and I guess I need to do, I guess, more research or something on it in the future because I'm like super fascinated about like I guess like why the human body reacts to certain things the way it does. Because again, I'm not going out and running 100 miles all in spot all the time, but I can run a 100 mile race, and then the second time that I do it in like 8 months, uh, it's like it feels better, it feels easier, my body's more adapted to it, and it's kind of interesting, I guess, the way your body remembers, the way it adapts, and the way it functions, like in that capacity.